I do not feel, and I do not feel comfortable about sitting at that table with Shelby directly behind me, and no one, and I don't know where to stand and not make it up.
Can you stand over here?
If y'all
Anywhere.
Ms. Wells, this is the picture that you printed off Facebook, right?
Yes.
And do you believe that to be Ernie Shell?
Yes.
Okay, can you show the next picture, which would be the printout of the lifeout.com profile?
Do you want the picture or do you want the profile?
Yes, the picture on the profile. We'll get to that picture later. Right there.
Are good, or you need a little more?
Yep. Obviously, Ernie Shell's name's not on this, right?
Right.
Can everybody in the church see that? All right. Now, if you could show the third picture where you zoomed in on the Facebook picture. And you created that picture from the Facebook picture, right?
No, I did not create that from the Facebook.
Oh, you didn't?
I clicked on the profile picture on Lifeout, and that's how that picture was.
Oh, okay. So that's the Lifeout picture.
If you see, this picture and that picture are one and the same picture.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to introduce these two pictures in evidence. I don't know what number the defense is on.
I don't know what number you're up to either.
Maybe three?
Three. So these are two photographs collectively.
Yes.
Identify them as defendants. They're identified as defendants exhibit 3 collectively.
And it can be 3.1 and 3.2 if the court wants. They're two different documents.
3 and 3.1. Let's put it that way. They're identified. Is there any objection to their introduction?
just based upon
The objections asserted earlier. All right, and I'd overrule that. So they're introduced as defendants exhibits 3 and 3.1 respectively. They'll be marked by the clerk.
Ms. Wells, when you were looking at the Facebook profiles of Ernie Shell, did he have any jobs listed?
Yes, he did.
What were some of those?
Some of those were private investigator, fugitive recovery agent. I don't know how to answer that.
Bounty hunter?
Yes, bounty hunter. And or bail bondsman.
Did you do any investigation into whether Ernie was an actual bail bondsman?
Yes, I did.
Could you tell the jury kind of what you did leading up to this trial and the investigation you took?
Yes. In Tennessee, there is a association for professional bail agents, and it's called TAPBA, T-A-P-B-A, is their abbreviation. They're based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and they have a record of every licensed bail agent in the state of Tennessee.
Okay, I want to stop you. Can you be a bail agent and not be licensed in Tennessee?
No, I cannot.
Is it Tennessee law that you have to be licensed?
Yes.
Okay. Did you check and see if Ernie Shell was licensed?
Yes, I did.
And was Ernie Shell licensed?
I can read you the letter from Miss Hogg if you would like.
Well, in your investigation, did you ever find out if he was licensed?
No, never.
Okay, and then since Mr. Shell's testimony, double-checked your investigation.
Yes.
And you've gotten a letter from the Tennessee Association of Professional Bail Agents, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And that letter states...
May we approach? hearsay is not just
No,
words.
that's hearsay. I mean,
It's written.
she can't go into that, because she said enough. She said she couldn't find who he was licensed, and so leave it at that, but the letter's not admissible. All right.
And just for completeness, did you do the same process with the state of Virginia?
Yes.
Okay. Had Mr. Shell ever purported to be a deputy?
Yes.
Oh, what?
A deputy?
Yes, he had.
Did you do any
In Tennessee.
investigation into that?
Yes.
Could you tell the jury what your investigation was?
We contacted the county that he claimed to be a sheriff's deputy at, and they said that they had no record of him ever being a deputy there.
Okay. And you said earlier part of your job was to talk to witnesses.
Yes.
Did you talk to a Pam Stidham?
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit about what happened in your investigation and anything you obtained from Pam?
Ernie had lived with Pam for several months, according to Pam's
May we approach, Your Honor?
testimony.
Ms. Stidham testified.
I'm not getting into what she said. I'm just getting a chain of custody for the computer so that we can introduce the contents of that computer.
Well, we'll do that.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then, what computer?
The computer that belonged to Ernie Shell that
Okay.
Pam Stidham had. She testified to a laptop computer.
All right,
We have the contents of that computer.
let's move on. We're getting into sort of collateral issues that don't go directly to them. Anyway, let's move on.
When you talked to Pam Stidham, she told you about a computer.
Yes.
Could you tell the jury about that computer?
Pam had this computer that belonged to Ernie, and that he had, it had froze up and he became aggravated, and he shot holes in the computer.
I'm just going to hold it up. Is this the computer you got from Pam?
Yes. With the bullet holes. Yep, that's it.
And it's the same computer that Pam said belonged to Ernie, right?
Yes.
Were you able to get any information off of that computer?
Yes, we took it to a gentleman that is very technologically intelligent, and he pulled some data off the basic hard drive for us.
Okay. So when you said we, you were a part of that process?
Yes.
Here we have.
Have you got the guy here who pulled the information off of it?
She was there.
I mean, have you got the stuff? I mean, if you, what do you mean she was there?
First
I mean,
off,
she
we
was there
have,
to
we
pull
have
the
no
stuff off the-
definitive anything that this computer, well, one, was Ernie Shell's. Two, that this woman retrieved. I mean, this is a layperson that has brought a
I
computer
object to her being a layperson.
to someone without any mechanism of retrieval. When was this retrieved? How? I mean, we know nothing about this.
Well, we know that Pam testified to it, so we know it's in evidence there. We know that she testified to getting it from Pam, and we know that you've stopped the rest of this testimony by this objection. So, I mean,
Let me
to
ask
say
you-
we know nothing is false.
You said she was there when he, Richard, what does that mean? She walked through every step with him? Or what?
Yeah, I mean, she's wearing a lot of hats. Is she?
I know.
She's an investigator. She
Well,
investigates
that don't
things.
mean,
We've had,
that
we had
don't
a
mean she can
detective.
do
It was a
everything in the
30-year
world.
detective at the state police. We still had to have people up here to talk
Yeah,
to
they
us.
have to bring in all kinds of experts to testify to every little detail they've done. And I mean, you're talking about, she's talking about somebody else took off a computer who can't, there's no link up here between.
But the link is the stuff on the computer, which has pictures of Ernie Shell.
Yeah, but
So-
you know what I'm talking about. The guy, whoever it is, that took it off the computer.
I'm confused.
How? No, you're not. Who took it off the computer?
The computer guy?
Is he here?
No. I mean, we can have him here if the court wants, or, I mean, we can go through the four questions.
It's not
we
my
have.
case. I don't have a dog in this fight.
She was a part of the whole
You have to have your
process.
witnesses here.
She can authenticate these pictures the same way she authenticated the other pictures.
Which was the proper authentication. I'll put in my objections.
It's the same process. There's no different process. She has seen these things. They self-authenticate. They are pictures.
There's a
Self-authentication
little bit of
illegal.
difference from
completely
there's a little bit of
self-authenticated.
opening up something on a computer and printing it out.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. But when someone else has done it, and they're not here to describe what they did and how they did it.
There's no magic technological thing to copying a file. It is not something that you need an expertise for. I can do it in 3 seconds, and I have no training on computers. All you do is copy it from one thing to
Can that
another.
computer run?
Huh?
Does that computer run?
Yes. It is a perfect hard drive. You just copy it. There's no.
We're going to go through this
there's no
off the
magic
record first.
expertise.
We're going to go through this stuff off the record. Not off the record. We're going to go through this out of the presence of the jury first. I want to know more about this stuff. But when Mike Cornett's up here testifying, he testifies a little bit. Then they got to bring in an expert from Frank to tell you precisely what they did. Testifies a little bit more, and they bring in another expert to tell you precisely what they did.
Because it's the rules.
That's the way
Because they used
evidence
experts.
works.
This is not expertise. There's nothing expert about copying a file. You do not need to be an expert to use a computer. It's 2019. You don't need
Mr.
an expertise
Seidelman.
in copying things.
Mr. Seidelman, this has to do with who does what, and she said someone else did it.
I will agree with that, but if you will let me ask some questions about
I'm gonna let the jury step out, and we're gonna go through it out of their presence, and I'll make a decision on it.
Okay.
But now, just because you represent the defendant doesn't mean you get to leapfrog over evidentiary matters
I'm not
that are
leapfrogging.
required.
I understand your concern, and hopefully without the presence of the jury I can clarify it. But my position is that nothing that has been done in this investigation requires an expert.
Everything requires personal knowledge.
That is true, and I'm going to get to the personal knowledge.
So, okay, so what? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do something outside your presence for about 15 minutes. I apologize. I know this is it's been difficult for you. Please, if you will, step outside. Same admonition. Don't form any opinions. Don't talk among yourselves about it. And we'll be moved this along as fast as we can. Okay, sure. let's, see what we're doing here.
Okay. Are we back on the record?
We're on the record.
I plug this in.
Well, maybe we don't need to be on the record, I don't know. I wanna find out what you're all talking about.
Well, Your Honor, if,
But I'm gonna caution you, you can only testify to matters in your personal knowledge.
yes, I believe she has personal knowledge of what came from this computer. I don't understand why it's an issue, but if it's gonna be an issue,
She said someone else, wait a minute. She said someone else took this stuff off the computer.
yeah, and gave it to her. I mean,
And
the
gave it
job
to
is
you.
to collect evidence
It
and
was a
talk to
gentleman
witnesses.
that works on computers. and
It was
he-
what?
It was a gentleman that works on computers, and he took the hard drive, plugged it into a little thing he has, and pulled the information from the hard drive, put it on a flash drive, and gave it to me.
Okay.
He didn't edit it or
He
change
didn't,
it.
He said that it could be dug into further if we chose to do so, but that was just the main basic hard drive
And what
information.
kind of data was it?
There were photos, anything basic off of what
If
your
the court
computer
will
would have.
turn on the
Yeah.
TV, I can show.
Photos and just files and things like that.
To give a comparison, Your Honor, I know Jeff Rogers, the expert that the Commonwealth had, is an expert, but he didn't bring in the software makers for Cellbrite. He didn't bring in the people that actually extract the information from the
Who are you
phone.
talking about?
Jeff Rogers, he testified
The
earlier.
phone guy?
The phone
Yeah.
guy. Like, for comparison's sake, his job is to get data from a phone and pull reports from it. Jessica's job was to try to get the information off the computer. He used some tools, he used some software to get that information. We didn't ask them to bring in the people that wrote up the software. or
I'm
bring
not
in the
asking for
tech
that. I'm not
Right.
talking about that.
We're not asking for all
We've got
the
we got an
details
unknown
that
person
actually-
out here who took the stuff off the computer.
Right.
Here's the second part, Your Honor, is Mr. Rogers went through the data and collected what was important and highlighted it in a format where people could read. Now, Art did not do that. That's not been done. This is a straight
I don't
copy.
care what Mr. Rogers did,
Of a hard
and no
drive.
one objected
say
to
by
what Mr.
comparison.
Rogers did.
We didn't ask for extra explanation of how
Well,
Mr.
that's
Rogers did
fine,
his job.
but
Jessica did her job, we don't think
Hey,
we
hey,
have
hey, hey.
explanation for her.
That's apples and oranges.
I'm not saying it's not apples and oranges.
You didn't object to
No, I'm
that.
not
He's objecting. He's objecting.
He is
So
objecting.
now we're dealing with an objection, an evidentiary objection. And he's objecting because the guy who did this isn't here to say what he did and how he did and what he, were you there when he did it?
I was not there when he pulled it from the hard drive onto the.
No.
Your Honor, if I could just point out that the files on the computer speak for themselves. And as far as authentication goes, if the court wants to say that he ever touched this data, he didn't. There was no physical touching of the data. He just pushed it from one thing to another. There
What-
is no, he never had possession of it. He never
There's no
touched it.
link between the computer and the files and her, other than that he sent this unknown person sent her some files.
We asked for copies.
Huh?
Basically, we asked for copies. Instead of asking for paper copies, we asked them to make
Look,
copies.
you're not addressing the issue. The person is this the guy that did this isn't here.
Right, but if you make copies with paper, you wouldn't ask for the copier to come to court. This man made a copy of the hard drive. We have a copy of the hard drive. It's an image, it's a copy.
Well, who can certify that it's a copy?
Nobody has to
Who can certify it's a copy?
Your Honor,
Who?
respectfully,
Answer my question,
I
please.
don't know the guy's name.
There you
Somebody
are.
took it to him, he made a copy. We could take something to Kinko's and make a copy, it would be the same thing. It's a copy. It's a duplicate. They're admissible and they've been admissible forever. The fact that it's a.
You still have to
copy is just a
authenticate
paper copy.
things, and you have to have you have to have evidence that this is what it is purported to be.
Well, and
Well,
we
you know
do
what it
have
is.
that, one, the laptop was testified to by Ms. Stidham earlier. She said that Shelby shot it up in the road in front of her house.
Not Shelby Ernest.
Not Shelby, sorry, Ernie.
There is no,
But we
we have that laptop. We have a big gap, and then we have you saying, or the witness prepared to say that this stuff came from that laptop, but
Right.
no link between the two.
We
No
have
evidentiary link between the two.
a copy of the laptop.
That's
I
it.
understand that you're probably overruling our
I am.
request to have
I am.
evidence and witness.
It's overruled.
We do need to present it by avowal, Your Honor.
Huh?
We do need to present it by avowal, and we can also say that the laptop was dropped off and the copy was picked up, just like any copy.
You can present anything you want by vow, but it's overruled.
Thank
So
you, Your Honor.
start your vow.
Okay, are we on the record?
Yes, we've always have been.
Ms. Wells, is this that is on the screen, these files, did they come from the laptop that you got from Pam Sidham?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to talk a little bit about that process. You got the laptop from Pam
Yes.
and you took it to a computer person
Yes.
and he copied that stuff and you have a copy of what was on the hard drive,
Yes.
right?
Yes, on a flash drive.
Okay. And in that, you have everything that was on that computer, right?
Yes.
It was just a copy.
Just a copy, yes.
Okay. Is that TV on?
It was,
It was.
it's just gone off.
It's switched over to the Elmo.
That was the Elmo. Yeah, there you go.
It just backed up a little bit where y'all said.
Can you turn off the Elmo maybe too? Maybe it'll stay on.
Ms. Wells, I'm looking at some pictures of Jason masks. Can you see those?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And specifically, I'm going to click on a couple of things here. This is a picture of a fugitive recovery agent image.
Yes.
And this is a fugitive recovery agent badge.
Yes.
And again, I'm not going to open up every one of these, but just finally, can you see this one here? It says fugitive recovery agent right there.
Yes, I
And
can.
that is all on Ernie Shell's computer.
Yes, it was.
Okay, now I'm going to take you to just one more set of pictures.
Okay.
Obviously, there's more face badges, but I'm going to show you this one.
Yes.
That's Ernie Shell right there,
Yes, it is.
and that is a fugitive recovery agent badge.
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to refer back to this picture.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yes, those appear to be the same type of.
And those are all pictures you got from Ernie Shell's computer.
Yes, sir, it is.
Your Honor, I'd like to move to enter the contents of this computer by avowal.
By vow.
because It has been excluded.
Did
And
you
I'd
want
like
to
to go
cross?
through
John,
No.
Mr. Lee? Did you
No.
want to cross? All right. It's introduced by, by vowel, but not as evidence in this case. At least not at this time. And I'm not even sure about the relevance of it, but anyway, let's get the jury back in here.
Your Honor, if I may, I'm just so that we don't continue to do this. Do you all want to talk about what you're trying to put on through her to see if we have an objection and we can do it outside of their presence so it can be seamless?
I don't have a lot more. I mean, if you're going to object to everything I say, then I guess we just have to keep
Well,
going.
Let's don't go into, let's don't go there now. Look, the defendant has a right to put on a defense, but yet case after case will tell you the defense does not have an unfettered right to put on evidence that I'm not even sure how relevant this is to any of the issues in this case, and not an unfettered right to just kill time. And not an unfettered right to introduce inadmissible evidence. Period. Now we're going to move on, and Mr. Lee asked you a question a moment ago, and I'm not, Mr. Lee, I'm not quite sure what your question was.
My question was simply, I was trying to and honestly to help them by saying if you have other evidence that you're going to be putting in. One of his complaints was every time I ask a question, you object. I will continue to do that. It's my job.
Well, there's been grounds for objections.
But in any event, if he wanted to, and they don't have to, go ahead and talk about what they're planning on putting through with her. I could then state now if I have an objection outside of the jury's presence, and after your rulings, the testimony may be seamless. I don't care either way. I'm still going to object if it's objectionable.
That may be a good way to go.
I'm not talking about complete testimony, Mr. Solomon. I'm just talking about if you have other pieces of evidence you're going to try and put in, if you want to go over that now. I don't care.
Your Honor, I was going to introduce testimony about him working on the 21st and the 22nd. I've got payroll transactions from his work that I think are business records that show that he got paid for that week. And I have some checks,
All right.
which aren't as clear, and I'm probably not going to introduce those because I can't even see them.
Can your witness testify that she recovered these from his employer and things like that to authenticate?
I have no objection to the 21st and 22nd
Okay.
documents. The check documents I'd like to see. I probably will object to those.
I'm not going to introduce the check document.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't see anything on them, so.
Okay. All right.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to bring up at this moment?
I have phone records.
That was 3 and 3.1.
But what is the phone record?
We have the Celebrate records that we could use as to my share that if it was
Right.
a closing, so I don't think we need to.
That's what I'm saying. We already have the Southwest stuff, so I don't really.
It's not in evidence, so if we wanted to have a phone record and put it into evidence, we'd have to use those.
Can we introduce anything in evidence?
You can, and we have jointly stated we would introduce it, a print off. We need to do that.
Yeah.
Print off 1,800 pages.
Only for this moment, the phone records are on the staff.
But we've already agreed, and it's on the record. You guys can talk about Cellbrite and closing as much as you want.
So I'm not going to introduce phone records, I don't think. Because we've got that Celebrate record and it says what we needed to say. So that's about it.
No objection to the 21st, 22nd. That's all I
So
say.
we need to get the jury back in here, I guess. Go. I'll get it. I'll get it, Steve.
That's put in by Val. Yeah, that was put in by Val. Your Honor, are we making a distinction between the evidence that this was put in by Val? I have several objections to the laptop, chain of custody, not the least of which, but.
By Val.
Okay.
Got one in the back.
Okay, all right. Sit down until you get to it. folks. All right, folks, have a seat. Anything to report? All right. Okay, very good. Okay, let's move on.
All right. Ms. Wells, did you do any investigation into Shelby Shell's employment?
Yes, I did.
And did Mr. Shell work the week of 2/17 to 2/25?
He worked Sundays that week.
He worked on the 20th and the 21st?
Yes, he did.
Were you able to obtain payroll records?
I did obtain payroll records. I would have
Can I
to view
approach?
them.
Follow me. And is that a record showing Mr. Shell's income for the week of
222?
what he got paid on 2/22?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And did you obtain that from K.N.S?
Yes, from
Industry.
K.N. Quality Industrial, from the Human Resources Department.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to admit this in evidence to Defense Exhibit 4
This is income for what period?
for the 20th and the 21st. The days.
All right, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, this is introduced as a payroll transaction. As defendants exhibit
Number 5.
5.
And Ms. Wells, I believe that's all the questions I have for now.
All right. Any cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Just a few. Ma'am, were you present here for Ernie Shell's testimony during this trial?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And did he deny on the stand being a deputy? The
I-
deputy sheriff, did he deny?
I think he did deny it on the stand.
Okay. Now, the photos that you have spoken about today, earlier, do you dispute the fact that anyone who with internet access could have accessed those photographs?
No, sir, I don't dispute that.
Okay. You didn't need any special codes or training or anything of that nature to access those?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you familiar with the term catfished?
Yes.
Could you describe your knowledge of what catfished is?
Catfish, to my knowledge, not that it's correct, but to my opinion, is that someone creates a fake account and portrays to another individual, convincing them that they're someone else when they are in fact not.
Okay. I'm going to read you a statement concerning catfish, and would you please let me know if you believe this is an accurate description? A person who sets up a false personal profile on a social networking site for fraudulent or deceptive purposes. Catfishing.
Seems pretty accurate, yes.
I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
No? Is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
You've been in the courtroom all along. You may step down, man. You
Thank
may be
you.
recalled out. All right. Anthony? Counsel Pro? What, you have a witness ready out there? Okay.
Let me just make sure he's really there.
Okay, all right. Okay.
You need this TV still out, or you need to put it back on?
Put it back.
The defense calls Cleo Powers, Your Honor.
All right.
All right.
All right, sir. I'm gonna let you raise your left hand since you're using a cane with your right. You swear or affirm that any testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Would you have a seat over here and speak loudly into this little black microphone that's on the bench in front of you there? And the name, again, Miss, what was the name of the witness?
Cleo Powers.
Cleo Powers, all right. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Karen.
Okay. Mr. Powers, could you state your name and spell your first name for the clerk, please?
It's Cledo Powers, C-L-E-D-O.
And Mr. Powers, where are you employed?
City of Everest.
Are you a firefighter?
Yes,
Are you the chief?
yes.
Did you respond to the fire and the scene of Mr. King's death on February 18th, 2013?
Yes.
Do you remember what happened upon your arrival?
Somewhat. I have a fella flagged me down and told me that there was smoke coming from the house. So I went over by there, and sure enough there was. So I hollered at my officer and got him to page it up. And I got the truck, and went over there.
And I probably forgot, how did you find out that you needed to respond to a fire?
Hey, this gentleman flagged me down.
Did anybody call? Was there a 911 call or that type of thing?
None I know of other than what I hollered for to have it paged up.
When you arrived, were there people trying to put out the fire?
Not that I can recall of.
If I gave you a chance to look at your report, would that help your memory of what you recall?
It may help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I may approach, Your Honor.
Okay, what was your question again?
I'd asked him if he remembered if anyone was trying to put out the fire when he got there.
Oh, okay.
And he couldn't remember, and there's just a little bit of your report. If you want to read over that, you don't have to read it out loud, just to refresh your memory, and then I'll ask the question again. Would that help?
Yeah.
So, I'll ask the same question. When you responded to the fire, were there people trying to put it out when you arrived?
Yes.
And did you know who those people were?
Family members, I'm pretty sure.
And what were they trying to use at that time?
A water hose.
And as a firefighter, what was your next step?
When I pull up with the truck, started pulling hoses, pulling supply line, pulling hoses, and members getting geared up to go in. I do know that once they made entry in the home and got it out, I had one guy fall through the floor. And while we was working on checking on him, seeing if he's all right and stuff, one of the other guys, realized he was inside there.
What did you say, the last part of it?
When we was dealing with him, the guy that fell through the floor, some of the other members realized there was a guy inside of there. inside the house.
That's the point where you realized that maybe there was somebody who wasn't alive in the house.
Yes.
I forgot to ask, did you recognize the guy that flagged you down?
Yeah.
Do you know who it was?
Don't know his name, but I know him.
Okay. Did he stick around for the rest of the day, or did you see
No.
him leave? He took off?
Yeah.
And he wasn't a family member of yours?
No.
Do you remember which firefighter actually first found Mr. King's body?
No.
Do you remember which team members responded to the fire?
Most of them. Yeah.
Can you maybe tell the jury those you remember, and I'll give you a reminder if you don't remember everybody.
I know that myself, Alan Napier, maybe Anthony, maybe Leonard, Tom, probably. Not really for sure exactly who it was, to be honest with you.
So at this point, you don't remember the rest of the people that responded, right?
No.
If I may approach, again, it's the same
Okay.
report. I'm just gonna give you this to refresh your memory.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I remember all them. I've got short-term memory.
We'll try to get that
Yeah.
on the record. And if I could have some permission to lead this witness, Your Honor, just because,
Excuse me?
could I have some permission to lead on this, just because it's a short list, and he didn't remember, and he looked at it, and he's been refreshed, but.
Objection.
Go ahead.
Did Jesse C. report to the scene also?
Yes.
Okay. And you're on the list, and Mr. John Barrett,
Yes.
and Josh Napier,
Yeah.
and Kurt Blevins,
Yeah.
and BJ Guthrie,
Yeah.
and Joey Robertson.
Yeah.
And then some EMS folks, a David McGill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, maybe Everett's PD and KSP Lake.
Yeah. County Sheriff.
About what time do you think you arrived at the scene?
I'm thinking it's early morning. I think maybe around 9ish, 10ish, something like that.
And when you rode up, or I'm looking at a report and I'm not gonna show it to the jury, but you do kind of write up a report of who was there, kind of a log of who showed up that day. When you went into the King home, did somebody open the door for you?
When they made entries, I ain't for sure exactly who opened the door or what.
Okay.
I was at the engine at the time they done that.
And the fire department broke the window on the second floor?
No.
No, you don't
Family
think so?
member did that.
A family member.
Yeah.
And you got there around 9ish.
I'm thinking that's
Morning.
about around time, yeah.
When you're putting out a fire, are you worried about contaminating evidence at the scene?
Well, at the time we didn't know, so we just doing our normal thing, putting it out.
So you're hosing down everything?
Well, it was a small fire. It didn't do much damage at all. As far as water damage or anything like that, wasn't much of that done.
So it actually was contained to those
Just that
two
one little
locations.
area, yeah.
Do your firefighters walk through the scene and walk around and?
Yeah, do
Work on
signs,
things
signs, look things over and check things out, yeah.
Those are all the questions that I have for you. I don't know if Mr. Lee has more questions. Thank you.
Any cross?
No, Your Honor.
This witness be excused?
Yes, you.
All right. You're free to go, sir.
There you go. All right, sure thing.